Now, reluctance of ryots or reluctance of ryots to grow indigo. Now, we discussed about niche system and it was difficult to follow the niche system, but what about the other ryot system? So, the planters, they generally force the ryots to sign a contract, as we have discussed earlier that there was a contract known as satta. So, what happened in that? The planters, cultivators, they signed a contract with the ryot. So, what happened under this system? Cash advances were given on low interest rates. Okay, this was still a loan, but it was on a low interest rates, and this was committed to the ryot to cultivate the production of indigo. So, at least 25% of holding was of indigo. Repeat, under the ryotwari system, cash advances, loans, they were given on a very minimum interest rate so that cultivators, the planters, they could cultivate and plant indigo in the large farms, large piece of land. And it was important that 25% of the cultivation on that land, that should be belonging to indigo cultivation. So, what did the planters do? They provided seeds, drill, etc., other kind of tools that increase the production of indigo. So, and the actual cultivation, the actual process of cultivating, like sowing the seeds, harvesting and taking care of the plants, it was done by the cultivator. Okay. So, after the delivery of harvest crop, once the crop they grew, they were harvested. So, this harvest of the crop was given to the planter. So, there was a delivery of the harvest crop to the planter. A new loan, after that a new loan was given or advanced to the ryot. Okay. This way the ryot or the ryot was trapped in a cycle of loan. This way, since there were advances which were keep on going on from one harvest to another harvest, there was a very vicious cycle of advance and loans and debt on the ryot. They realized that they were actually getting low rate for their hard labor. They were working very hard, cultivating the land and everything was being done by them. But at the same time, they were not getting any good amount of revenue from them. So, planters, they forced the ryot to grow indigo. So, the cultivators, the ryots, they were forced to grow indigo on the best of the soils. It was not like that they could grow any other plant to make the soil fertile or to gain revenue. They were forced to grow indigo on the good quality of soil. Whereas the cultivators, they wanted to use it for rice, because rice was inexpensive to produce and the land was suitable and favorable for the production of rice as well. Now, here is an image of the workers, the cultivators, harvesting the crop. So, the crop has grown, as you see, and now they are just harvesting it. What is the process of harvestation? Now, here is an image of workers harvesting indigo. As you see, the crop is now grown. So, it was later on harvested. This image is of the early 19th century from Bengal. So, from Cole's worthy grant, rural life in Bengal and 1860 in India, the indigo plant was cut mostly by men. Women were not involved in this cultivation. So, the indigo plant being brought from the fields of a factory, as you can see, there are some kind of chariots, some kind of wheel carts on which the indigo plant was transported. So, now, how was indigo produced? We saw about indigo cultivation. Now, what was the process of cultivation? So, after the harvest, indigo was taken to the vats in the factory. So, indigo was used to make dyes and pigmentations to produce blue dye, isn't it? So, it was then taken to the factories. Okay. So, 3 or 4 vats were required. So, the leaves or the petals from the indigo plant, they were first soaked in the warm water so that they can get mushy. So, the leaves were first, they were soaked in warm water in a vat. So, a vat is a kind of tool, let's say, which is used to soak the leaves and flower petals for hours. After the fermentation, after that the leaves and the petals, they got mushy, they were fermented. The liquid began to boil and bubble. So, the liquid, the water, it began to boil and bubble. Leaves were taken out and liquid drained into another vat, beater vat. Okay. The solution which has been taken out, it was stirred and beaten with paddles, the liquid turned green and then blue. Lime was also added. So there is lime powder that was also added so that the color would turn green then blue. Okay, so this is important to note the process. So gradually indigo separated out in flakes. The clear liquid at the top was drained and sediments, they were transferred from that vat to another vat. So what happened? As there was stirring up of the liquid, there was sedimentation of few things, a few substances, and then the indigo, the fine quality of indigo that came on top, and it was separated from the flakes. Now these flakes of what? Flakes of indigo, they were then pressed and dried for sale. So what happened? The indigo we obtained from the process of stirring. These flakes, they were dried and then they were sold and prepared for the market. As you can see in the picture here, we have a picture of the indigo factory which is located near the indigo fields. So in this picture they have shown you what is a beater vat. So it is something like this. So what are beater vats? Vats are these hollow tanks in which the process of production of indigo takes place. So, here women used to carry indigo plants to the vats. This is a picture of a vat beater. Now here as you see that indigo has been pressed, the flakes have been dried. Now it is ready for sale in the market.